All right, in this video, I'm going to share with you a very personal, I don't know if you call it struggle, or rather a very personal lifestyle change. And that is how I overcame my addiction towards women and sex. Okay. Now, before I do get into this video, YouTube obviously wants a disclaimer. And I think it's common sense. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist. What I'm sharing with you is nothing but a personal experience and personal strategies that I've used in my life to overcome the addiction towards women and sex. Now, I'm not saying that what I'm sharing with you will work. I'm not saying that it may not work. All I'm saying is I tried this in my life and I've changed. So, having said that, listen to it with a very broad sense. And if you have any questions, feel free comment down below. If I do know the answer, I'll definitely share with you. And yeah, for the rest of you who just want to comment and leave a couple of rude comments or make fun or whatever, go ahead. As long as YouTube allows, I'm not going to delete any of the comments. Okay. YouTube's AI automatically does that for me, I guess. Okay. So first, let me define what is addiction and what I would state as my addiction. Because I was born and raised in a conservative Catholic South Indian family. They were very image conscious. They wanted the son, that was me, to be very goody-goody, two shoes, rank holder, well-behaved, acted properly, behaved like, person, very decent upbringing and all that. But they would never be involved in my upbringing, in giving me proper guidance, in communicating with nothing. There was no such thing as having even a conversation, let alone having a conversation based on sex or guidance related to it. And these are the pre-internet days, pre-Google, pre-social media, and there was no information to books or educational material with regards to sex. So it was just what it is. And obviously, as you grow up, the changes in your body with you reaching puberty, you start noticing other girls and like, wow, girls, and you're oozing testosterone. And then obviously there is, oh, he has a girlfriend, he's cool, and that would also be a factor in. And then obviously the status, oh, he has two girlfriends, oh, he has this girl after him, oh man, he's dating that girl. So that got into me. And because I was not very popular with the guys, I didn't have any resources to have friends, or my parents never let me go out or hang out with friends. I was very alone, and the only way I felt I could be special was if I found someone who liked me, because no friends, no parents, no cousins, nobody, no. My brother was he was too small, 11 years, I think, age difference, whatever. So I was yearning for companionship, friendship, and obviously, as you grow up, you want sex. So having grew up in that, and then obviously in my school, towards the high school, Playboy, Penthouse, pornographic magazines, and those days we had the CRT monitor with a floppy drive where you would get one image of a girl showing a breast, one image of a sexual, graphic kind of triple X kind of image. On a floppy drive, there would be some 10 images or 2 images, pixelated those days. So there was a lot of confusion, and nobody knew what was what. We just knew boobs and ass and sex, and we would see female's vagina, and we're like, oh. And I remember the first time I saw a porno video, first time at the age of 16, that also, there was a VHS tape, and someone, I said, can I see? So they gave, and I remember after my parents went to work and my grandmother was not there, I put the VHS tape, and it was a very, not very clear, obviously, because you pirated copy. And there I was looking at, the olden kind of porn where, they had females had hairy private parts and guys had hairy private parts, and there was hair all over, and the olden days kind of like 70s porn. And the minute I saw it, I was like, yuck, what the hell is this? Like, why is she sucking his private part? Why is he sucking her private part? It looked really disgusting. I was really disgusted. I was like, yuck, this is sex? Like, I was expecting something like, like what romantic, like a good looking guy and girl, kissing each other's lips and, holding each other. You have a image of how sex is. So it was nothing like that. It was just, pull your trousers down and start sucking. And then obviously you climax and they come all over and you start licking. You're like, yuck, you want to puke. So that was my first introduction into the world of porn, sex and all that. And I was very confused. Then obviously, at some point you get used to it. And then you see those magazines and then, you see. I remember even having those catalogs where girls would wear bra and panty and they would look hot and you would be like, oh, wow, and then jerk off to that. And obviously you didn't know what you're doing and the confusion. Oh, God watches when you do all these things. It's a sin. So yeah, grew up as a very confused young man, nobody to seek guidance, nobody to talk to. You would be very shy to talk to even the guys. And I don't think guys would say, hey, how do you masturbate and all that. Okay. So I grew up in that kind of confused environment and obviously couldn't speak to my parents about it. So then came the kind of peer pressure to have a girlfriend, and obviously not just peer pressure, it was fun having girlfriends. And I think I was a good looking lad, average good looking lad. So I did have a couple of girlfriends, and then obviously the first time you peck each other on the lip or you kiss or you hold hands or secretly write love letters, got introduced into that world. Okay. Then from there, when you grow up, parents can't supervise everywhere you go. So I would secretly go meet girls, when their parents are out, go into their apartment. Got caught a couple of times. Yes, got caught also, like they say, with your pants down with the girl in the bed. That's another story for another day. So done all this bullshit I did. Okay. However, somewhere down the line, it became more of a competition. Like, I realized if people came to know how many girls I had, my stock market or my value, my perceived value among guys was cool. And I remember looking at those James Bond movies where this guy is suave, or whatever, smooth, and he would get these girls and he was debonair and all the females would go crazy about him and they wanted him, and I wanted to be like a James Bond. I wanted to have like a sophisticated car, suit, gadgets, but obviously couldn't have access to all that. So where other guys used to go to clubs and all that or bunk school and all that, I didn't have access to all that. Only girls would meet in church and sometimes actually, this is embarrassing when I think about it, go to the toilet, take the girl in the toilet and smooch, hug, kiss, press, a little bit here and there. Or go to the building, the stairs. We've done all that shit. So the more number of girlfriends we had, the more cool we were. So I always assumed the more girlfriends I had, the more special I was. And yes, it gave me a kind of a high to know that I could attract a girl. It made me feel I was unique, special, or, had more value. And then obviously I used to brag about it with the other guys, directly, indirectly. But then after you cross the school phase and go into, I didn't have the college bit, but I definitely had the working phase, adult. And yeah, experimented with lots of girls and didn't know anything about sexual grooming or even had to clean myself before having sex until a female told me, listen, you have to wash yourself before sex. You have to smell nice, all that. That was sex education in itself. And I dated lots of females. I was not very particular that I'll date the hottest girl or the sexiest girl. I just wanted a girlfriend. Obviously not the ugliest of the ugly, but I wanted a girl. And they were, because I was in Dubai and Dubai was strict and A lot of girls wanted an outlet. A lot of guys wanted an outlet. Remember, this was before social media was a thing. There was ICQ. You can Google search ICQ, a chat platform. Yahoo groups, MSN groups. There was, Hotmail had a chat, MSN those days. So access to females was very difficult. There was no Tinder, there was no apps, dating apps, nothing. So it was all about luck, being at the right place, right time. Somehow you bump into a girl. Did that for a couple of years, but the drive to want to meet girls was always very strong. And I would literally, this is not an exaggeration, I would spend the whole day, if required, during work, after work, before, after getting up, until I sleep, always chasing girls. And I think because I was into DJing and anchoring shows and being on stage, it was far more easier for me to meet girls, access girls, bump into them, take their numbers, give my numbers to them, because I was always doing events and I was at the center stage as a DJ and MC. And that is why so many youngsters want to get into DJing, anchoring shows, and even move into cabin crew. That was also another goal of mine, so that I could bump into more girls. So as I moved along, I think because I was so obsessed about women that I wanted to improve, I read, by the time books started to come out, eBay was there, Amazon was there. So books on, they wouldn't call it a pickup artist. That term was not yet invented. I would read every possible book on sex. I would read every possible book on how to have sex, on women's psychology, men's psychology. You're talking of 6 to 8 hours a day being obsessed about this. And you're talking about actually going where girls are there. Like if there was a shopping mall, if there was a girl at the counter, if there was a movie, if there were a nightclub, if there was a pub, anywhere where there were girls, I would go there. Swimming or whatever, group meetings or whatever. And if you dedicate that kind of time, effort, and money into building yourself, grooming yourself, improving yourself, even gym has to go, muscles and all that. Everything was centered around girls. If you are going to spend your whole day 24/7, 7 days a week, throughout your life, only targeting this, you will achieve. And like I told you, I was not looking at the hottest girls, the most beautiful girls, the most sophisticated. I was just looking girl, as long as the girl is easy to get. And boy, oh boy, I did succeed. And by the time Tinder came and Facebook came, I was actually dating 2 or 3 girls a day. Meeting girls, even sometimes job interviews and companies I would go for formal events. I would somehow get a number. And then it moved on to married women, divorced women, frustrated women. It became a crazy thing. Now, obviously, when you're having a good time, you're not going to think about, man, I need to stop this. You would not think, I need to focus on my life. No, as long as you're enjoying life, who the hell cares? And I got lucky because I was good at talking, I was good at marketing, selling myself. So I always ended up with some job, some money, some girl. This went on to a point where, not an exaggeration, this, people know this, I've said this on previous. I remember one particular day, from morning all the way to night, I met 6 different girls in 6 different places and had sex with all 6 of them. Means I'm not talking of go to the house, have sex, and go meet the girl, spend time, get frisky with her, foreplay, sex. After I finish, shower, dress up, next girl. 6 girls in a day. It was that bad. And I was not doing anything else other than this. Just girls, 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 girls. So this went on, and obviously because I was a bodybuilder, powerlifter, I used to take steroids. So that increased my testosterone and that increased my sexual appetite. And I told you, I was actually literally searching for nymphomaniacs. This girl whose face is tattooed here. This girl was 18-year-old when I was 31. 30, yeah. I told you, like she lied about her age, that she was 18. She was going to be 18 after 1 month, 1.5 months. So She told me she's 18. I believed her. I mean, there was no way to verify. By the time she did tell me the truth, it was already her 18th birthday. So, okay, fine. Some people have called me pedophile for that. Whatever floats your boat. Okay. So, this girl loved sex. She was addicted to sex. I mean, and no complaints. I also loved it. I mean, we were literally having sex from morning till evening. She would tell her parents that she was in college, but she was actually spending time with me. And we would have sex from morning to evening. You're talking of literally 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours. And we wanted to see how far we could push it. We would have sex in the car, table, kitchen, toilet, go for a movie, go to anywhere and everywhere. It was madness. Sometimes on the beach, near the sand, in the swimming pool, whatever. So, okay, you get the idea. Married women, single women, whatever. But at some point, at some point in my life, obviously you have ups and downs. You start evaluating what are you doing with your life. And I think it was at the age of 30, after 35, where my career started going up and down. Obviously, you have bills to pay. Your friends have gone on and moved and done better things in life. You see other people driving better cars, having a good career, having a family, settled down. And you see yourself, you're still doing all this shit. Yeah, it sounds cool. Hey, I'm with a young girl, I'm with two girls. But then, your age group, they don't look at you as cool anymore. They look at you as a fool. And obviously, when people don't admire you, you become a rebel. And everyone started branding me as a womanizer, which anyway, I didn't care. But then I started to feel something is missing. Genuinely. I enjoyed the sex. I enjoyed the anticipation, the thrill of the chase, as they call it. But I felt empty inside. I wanted to be loved, hugged, cared for. When you meet a girl initially, that romantic phase is that hugging, kissing, loving, that caring conversation. And very soon it became more about these things. It became about, can I talk to her? Can we have a worthwhile conversation? Can we have a good time together? Can I share intellectual ideas? In fact, I started avoiding women, especially who had a headache, who has too much of drama. I never used to have that. And out of all the 300 or 400 women that I was with, I would say just one or two ended up in a very rocky way, but the rest of them was very amicable. So I enjoyed the sex. I didn't mind the sex, the anticipation, the thrill of the chase, the challenge of getting a female. But I was actually yearning by the time I was in my mid 30s. I wanted a friend. I wanted someone to talk to. And I think by the time when I got this Filipina girl whom I loved the conversations, we used to always have very passionate, intense sex. There was chemistry, there was connection. And she was also an athlete. By the time I was into long distance, 21 kilometers running, she was also into that. We were both into swimming. We were both into gym. We were both into fitness. So I really enjoyed that. And even though I was still cheating on her, she didn't know I had other girlfriends. I didn't think I needed to tell her that. I still enjoyed being with her. I enjoyed a new thrill of the chase, quick shag and come back. But then I would still go back to her. And even though we would have drama, when you're with someone, there would be drama, there would be arguments, I would still go back to her. I still enjoyed being hugged by her, being cuddled by her, having those moments. This went on for, I think, 2 or 3 years or whatever, until, disaster struck. If you have followed my YouTube channel, 2011 was where I nearly committed suicide because I lost everything. And it was at that phase I had this female. And that is where I started to, even though I would enjoy the sex, I would still get females very easily. By the time, even though I was fat, I was chubby, I somehow managed to get females because females were looking at someone whom they could feel secure and safe with, who they could trust. So even though I was a big, huge guy, not only bodybuilder but had a big tummy, I would get quite a number of hot, attractive females. And obviously, I was tattooed by then. But there was something missing. I don't know what. I couldn't pinpoint what it was. It was only after I decided to move from UAE to start a totally new life here in Thailand. I think because I stopped taking steroids, because I stopped the bodybuilding gym culture, because I was actively looking for a marriage partner to start a proper life. That was going to be my third, fourth marriage. Yeah, sorry, fourth marriage. Third divorce, fourth marriage. And I wanted it to be meaningful, purposeful. I wanted to have a child. That I really started to ask myself, do I want to keep doing this, having fun? Yeah, I didn't mind it. But what mattered to me more than that was my career, the money in the bank, my future, my brand. Sex was fun, but it was not so much fun that all these areas I could not focus on. Because remember this much, if you don't have money, you don't have a career, if you don't have something to fall back on, you're in deep shit. And in my case, I didn't have any of these. Plus, I didn't have a mother, a father, relatives, friends, nobody to support me. And on top of that, I came to a foreign country where there was no plan B. So I was under tremendous stress. I was under tremendous pressure. And when you are under stress and pressure, the last thing you think about is sex. Take it from me. When you're under stress and pressure, the last thing you think about is, can I get shagged? And what you need to understand here in Thailand, the females who are here, they are not the kind who you can play around with. Many of them, they're very masculine in nature. Like, they will not spare you, no matter who you are. Some of them are literally like physically violent. And because I used to read the forums and I used to see some of the drama, there were ones who'd fight. There were females who would actually turn up at the guy's place and maybe break his windows, set his house on fire, wait for him, take a bloody stick and hammer him, bring her friends. And so there were all these risks, and I didn't have time for all this drama. And then there were others who had boyfriends or ex-boyfriends or friends who knew gangsters, who were into smoking, drinking, drugs. I didn't want to get into all that. And obviously, I didn't want to get into someone who would call the police and make legal issues. And the biggest one of all is, until now, I was in Dubai, where they were constantly having tests for STD and any, sexual related disease, where if you had any, you would be deported. Here in Thailand, where I was now residing, there's no such test. You could have herpes, you could have AIDS, you could have any disease, and you are carrying it and nobody would know. So was I willing to take all those risks? And the answer was no fucking way. And by the time my testosterone was going down and down and down because of no more steroids, no more exercise, no more nothing, and having stress and pressure, and my weight was ballooning up. I was, 125 kilos. Yes, I did enjoy sex. I did enjoy the fun. I did enjoy the companionship. But, my stamina from half an hour reduced to 15 minutes, reduced to 10 minutes. And then when you're under so much of stress and pressure for work and no money and all, you just want sex to get over as quickly as possible. In fact, the frequency, because before I was having sex very frequently, I guess the sensitive areas of my private parts, especially the head, it was pretty strong. I could sustain for long. But now it was like, because I was not having sex as frequent and very rarely, it became too sensitive to the part where I would climax very, very fast. Try not having sex for, say, a month, 2 months. Maybe if a female even touches you or talks to you, you'll climax. It became that bad. So sex started to slowly take a back seat. And by the time, I found the right girl, I got married. There was passion, there was love, and I enjoyed sex. But then again, the honeymoon phase lasted some time, and then work. And that is where I opted for a bariatric surgery, which brought my weight down, which changed my muscular structure, which changed my testosterone levels. And by the time I had a kid and more additional responsibilities, priorities. And today, my focus is me, my brand, my health, things that keep me happy. And then, yes, my wife and my kid and the family life and the future. So when you have so much on your plate, the last thing is sex. Now, if you don't spend time, effort, money, and you're not obsessed, the only way you can get someone for sex is either you pay money or you're at a place where everyone is okay with having sex with anyone. And I was not interested in that. Neither was I interested in paying money for sex because I could get it at my partner. So because I had a partner, sex took a back seat and career, brand, that took the front seat. And today I get turned on more high by getting a customer, by making money, by achieving financial success. So my priorities are changed. So now I know what you'll say. Hey man, where's the solution? I was expecting you to tell me a magic pill or a strategy like no fap or don't, and you can overcome it, or mind over matter or something. I wish there was a magic pill that would solve your problem. I wish there was a magic mantra that you could recite or you could pray to God. I've done all these things. None of them work. In fact, this no fap rule, don't masturbate and you can control yourself, works to a certain extent. Until it's like you build the urge so much that it becomes like a pressure filled chamber and it explodes, like your climax just explodes everywhere. It becomes mad. This no fap rule doesn't work. It's not possible. So, what are the practical solutions? Here, I've just written down a few points. I'll share them with you. See, number one, the most important is obviously your upbringing, is your environment, is the people you surround yourself with. If your upbringing involves proper communication and you have access to men and women and you mix with them, it will not be that desperate. But if you're born in an environment where women are viewed as sexual objects and guys talk about females as a sexual object, and it's more of boys only mixed with boys, and you hardly get to see a girl, and when you do get to see a girl, because you're brainwashed with watching porn and all these adult content, and you're just brainwashed into thinking that this is what it is, obviously you're going to be like that, right? But if you have a proper communication, you have an avenue where you can vent out your energy, let's say sports, or you have a steady relationship, or you have been guided properly. I know many of you will say, oh, if you're a non-vegetarian, you're more sex-oriented. If you're vegetarian, less, or the food is very heaty. All this, I don't know if it is scientifically proven. I don't think it is, because if that is the logic, then vegetarians, I mean, if you look at rabbits, see the way they multiply, they are vegetarians. People give example of lions having sex 50 times because they are non-vegetarian, but they are eating only raw meat. Are you eating raw meat? So we can't cherry pick. But also keep in mind that there is a serious medical condition. Some people have emotional condition for which you need to approach a psychologist or psychiatrist or seek medical treatment. And given the fact that today See, given the fact that today there is social media, you have, an easy pass to chat with any female, meet any female within the four walls of anonymity, where you can send hundreds of messages to hundreds of girls, and hundreds of girls can send to hundreds of guys, where there is the porn culture, where there is OnlyFans, where today sex is being marketed as normal, being promiscuous is normalized, where females are openly showing you pornographic material, including themselves for cash, where they don't mind being viewed as sexual objects. So there is a skewed image, impression, or idea about sex. So this really complicates things. And when a youngster, man or woman, does not have a healthy relationship with his parents or local or his guardians, does not have a mentor, doesn't have someone to guide them, there's a lot of confusion. And when you have emotions and feelings coupled with all this, you just don't know what to say. And given the fact that you have people like Andrew Tate and all these other people giving you bullshit, it's confusing. So, what I would suggest is, number one, if you can't control your environment, if you can't control the fact that your parents are not there for you, you need to reach out with someone who's mature, either professionally paid, or you meet someone who you look up to who can guide you. But then again, be careful, because there are many people who appear decent, who look nice, but they might have a very dark side to them which they don't show. And be careful of the websites you go to. Be careful of who you look up to, who you take advice from. See, someone like Jordan Peterson has a level of maturity. He's a psychologist, psychiatrist. He knows what he's talking about. But someone like Andrew Tate will give you a very skewed image, impression about the world. And that is not right. If you would speak to someone who's married, obviously they would not share everything with you, because they have to image to maintain. They would give you a very diplomatic overview of things. But someone who's older than you would have more experience to guide you. So what is the solution? That is the question. The solution is, there's no one liner, there's no one pill, there's no one do this and that's the end of it. Every single person is unique. Every single person comes from a unique background, has unique likes, dislikes, personality traits, sexual appetite, testosterone levels, physical composition, preferences, habits. Every person is unique. If you really want to overcome the addiction of women or sex, it is a work in progress, which will take a long time. It'll take a long time. It's not going to be easy. And just having just only willpower and self-control is not going to help you. Yes, changing your diet does help to a limited extent, but more than that is changing your lifestyle, your environment, and the people you surround yourself with, including the content that you consume. If you are going to be, keep watching porn and keep having cyber chats or cyber sex with females and keep fantasizing and meet up with guys who also talk about all this, it's not going to help. You have energy, you need to channelize it, you need to figure out the solutions. The reason I was able to overcome all this is because the physical aspect, my declining testosterone and health, is because my priorities changed. My focus was more towards money, my brand, my work, family. It's because my responsibilities increased. It's because of my age. It's because I changed the environment I was. This one is ironic, because from Islamic country, so-called Islamic, I moved to a very open sex kind of, country, open-minded. But because of the risk of STD and all the risks that come with dating, these masculine kind of women, I didn't want drama. And last but not the least, it is, once you get to know yourself and you know what you actually want, Are you doing this for attention? Are you doing this for love? Are you doing this because there's a vacuum in your life and you address it? That self realization will make you a better person. And that is why I am where I am today and in a much better place. So, this is what I'll leave you with. If you really want to overcome the addiction for sex of women, you need to really commit yourself to that change. It's a complete change of lifestyle, habits, mannerisms, friends, um, health, diet, every single thing. And unless you're ready to change every single thing, even the place where you stay, the people you hang out with, the content that you consume, the work that you do, your priorities, until you change every single thing. And yes, you have a partner who satisfies you emotionally, mentally, physically. Until then, you're going to keep at it and there's not going to be a solution. This has been my journey. This is how I overcame all this, and this is why I'm in a happy place today. And trust me, from the person I was in my 20s to what I am today, it's just extreme opposites. Anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you. Let me know your thoughts. And yes, if you do have any questions, feel free. But if you surround yourself with people who can help you, guide you, coach you, mentor you, and want the best for you, and you take the right choices and the right steps towards understanding yourself and making yourself a better human being, in time you will overcome this. Every addiction on this planet can be overcame just as you can get into it. It only takes time, effort, and money and patience. All right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope this video helped you. And if you have anything to share, feel free. This is me signing off. You guys take care.